and welcome to another lunch critique. So today we have a very special friend named Faith who has sent us in a story, and she wants to know about the formatting and whether or not she's done it well enough and about her story. So thank you, Faith, for submitting your story. Yes, your formatting is not done correctly, so I'm really glad that you sent this in. I know that this is a picture book only because it's pretty short. It's only about 4 pages, which is what a picture book manuscript should be, but you don't want to see this huge amount of text. Like that's a lot for your eyes to take in, especially in like big block forms. And so when you're formatting, you want to make sure we're going to make a copy so I can show you this. You're going to want to make sure that this is in size 12 font and that it's double spaced. You know, with this one here, we have all these really, really tight lines and all this text together, and we don't want that. We want it to be double spaced. You're going to come over here to your spacing. You're going to double space it. And then I always remove these spaces after your paragraphs. So that way they're gone. And you have to indent. Whenever you have paragraphs, you have to indent, which is hitting the tab button. But like I said, this is too much text when it comes to your story. So we need to cut this down. So let's look at it. This one day while I was playing with my cousins at the park, I didn't feel good. Well, that's super, super telling. Can you drop us into the action? Remember that there are 2 settings. There's the setting where your story takes place, and there's the setting where we meet your character and where we're actually introduced to the story. And so it seemed no matter how much I tried to play or sleep and eat, I still didn't feel better. Mommy and Daddy took me to the doctor a few times. So this is a lot that's happening. So it seems to me that we need to ground the reader a lot more. So who they are, because you're telling this in first person, we're going to need to know how old they are, what their name is, etc. So they're going to find out they have a diagnosis. And remember when we did the story time a little while ago, and there is like a midpoint plot that you could do, which might work for this one. So midpoint plot just means that you're building up to the midpoint, you're going to have a turning point. So the beginning could be about how they don't feel good, 3 different instances where this happens, but their goal is to do something else. I mean, obviously their goal is to get better, but that's very internal. What could be their goal? Like, how do they discover this? You know, it's playing at the park. Okay, well, maybe their goal is to run at recess, or their goal is to keep up with their cousin, or their goal is to go down the slide by themselves, or to swing as high as possible, and something happens. And so then it becomes, okay, well, what's wrong? How can I get better? And that's where their story actually catalysts and it begins. But you're going to do all of these things and you're going to realize that things aren't getting better. And the turning point is going to the doctor and realizing that they're sick. And now what? Now what does life become? And so it becomes this big shift, and then we have to talk about it afterwards. So essentially, like, this whole section is your story, but you can't tell it like that. You have to tell it in a picture book format of getting us there, talking to us as in a picture book, you know, shorter sentences, snappy, making sure it's visual, making sure we can see the scenes, see this visually. And what I recommend, and what I recommend everyone do, is to type out the stories that they like, type out bestseller stories, type out other examples of picture books to get a feel for the voice, the pacing, the storytelling, and what does it look like to have an actual story. So I did that here with Story Dogs Cool Beans, just to show you what that looks like. Obviously, this is just for you. You cannot share it, but it just helps to show you what your manuscript can look like when you actually go to put it into a proper picture book. So you get the idea for sentence structure, how short they need to be, ways to use onomatopoeia, and how to show visually what's happening in your story without describing everything. So hope this helps you, Faith. Thank you so much for sharing. And if you would like to get your story critiqued, there is a link below in the description. Thanks so much for watching, guys.